Michael Davis, thank you so much for the 5-spot. We appreciate it. I recommend y'all go watch the cinematic video of the Orange Bowl. Shit got me pumped for next year. Us against the world mentality.
That speech that he gave in the locker room after the game was awesome, man. When he looks over at Kalen DeLoach, man, if that doesn't touch you right there in the heart, I don't know what does.
Gilbert Edmond was not necessarily a highly recruited player, but turned out to be pretty serviceable at Florida State with 67 tackles for his career and 11 tackles for loss.
Well, he was pretty highly, touted coming, into Florida State last year from South Carolina in the portal. He didn't quite live up to the hype that he had as a recruit in the portal. He was still a good piece. I went back and forth with some people. Like, people have this thing where they just want to crap on these kids when they don't live up to their expectations or whatever. He was part of a top 5 D-line unit. He made some good plays. He didn't, absolutely kill it, but he would have been a great guy to keep. I would have liked to have held on to him to be that 4th, maybe 5th guy, at the end. That's a decision for him to make. He decided to go out there and be somewhere where he would be part of the plans to be, part of a starting unit. But, that just wasn't going to be in the cards for him at FSU with who we got coming back, who's already ahead of him. So they'll concentrate more on some of the younger guys and wish him the best. It's not a big loss, but it's not like you wouldn't want the kid there. So
us as fans definitely are fine. We want to hold on to everything. And I get it. But I can promise you that Edmond leaving was at bare minimum a mutual. It was mutual. I got on James's show today, called in, and I was talking about it a little bit. Not Edmond, so to speak. I couldn't say it yet because he hadn't done it. But I was explaining to people about Sapp and Hill, the 2 gentlemen that already transferred out. Now they're in the transfer portal again because the head coach is leaving from FAMU. So I told everybody today that there was going to be more attrition. Don't be surprised when we tell a couple more guys to leave, because at this moment, which is the reason why I said we would probably get somewhere between 5 to 7 transfer portal guys, because right now you've gotten 2 in, which is DJU and MJJ. You only have 5 scholarships left at this moment. So you either have to have more attrition, they have to go, or you get 5 more guys.
they're honest in these exit interviews. I don't think people realize, like, this whole honesty thing just doesn't end at when they recruit you. After every season, probably after every game, they have, miniature ones, but after the season, they have a come to Jesus meeting. They sit down with the coaching staff and they tell them what the deal is. They're not going to blow smoke up their ass. Excuse my language. Like, Gilbert Edmond did not have any ideas of he was going to go in there and work his way up that depth chart. There's a conversation that happens, and, like Chris said, he's going to go somewhere and have a chance to start somewhere, and we wish him the best. You have to make room.
And like Chris says, sometimes you just gotta. We can't have it both ways. We obviously know that we need. So I had a show where we talked about the things that it needs that we're going to have in the portal. So we got our wide receiver. People want upgrades at running back. They want another wide receiver. You want upgrades at possibly two offensive linemen. So right now that's 4 players. You want 3 defensive ends, 1 being Marvin Jones Jr. and preferably, 2 other ones being there. You want 2 D tackles. Hopefully it'll be 1 from Colorado State and somebody else. So what is that? We're over up to 8 or 9 guys now. We need 2 linebackers. We're over 10 now. We want a safety from Tennessee. You're at 11. You got to be able to find, for this to happen, somebody's going to have to leave. And you don't have to be, again, I always tell people, you don't have to necessarily be an insider if you can read tea leaves. I mean, that's common sense. The only way we're going to get people is if somebody's going to have to leave. This has been happening since well before I played. Matter of fact, tomorrow we'll probably discuss. I think tomorrow is going to be one of the best interviews. I'm going to start a series called with the Dope Boys, where I interview former players, and I'm going to start with some of my teammates. And I'm going to interview one of my favorite teammates, Lorenzo Booker. And in our seg, we had attrition. Like he came in with it was at running back. He was a 5-star. Leon Washington was a 5-star. Thomas Hollywood Clayton was a 4-star out of Virginia Beach. Tom came in. Lorenzo didn't play his freshman year. Tom and Leon did. Tom fumbled the ball. Coach Sexton told Tom we had our intake meeting in February, and he said, right before signing, he said, you're going to have to gain weight. You don't hold on to the ball. We're going to make you a fullback. Tom was in the basically was on the first thing smoking back to Virginia and said, I ain't coming back. That was the first. And then I didn't even realize he took 5 official visits. He went to Michigan. He went to ended up winding up in Kansas State and ended up going to the NFL for a few years. But it happens. And then we brought in some new guys. And every year you bring in talent. And that's just the way things go. If you want to be a good program, you're going to bring in better talent, and you're going to probably sometimes see good guys leave. Look at Alabama. Like I said, Alabama had 9 guys hit the portal 15 minutes when it opened, and I don't even know what it was like the rest of the day. Georgia's got people jumping in, jumping out, playing double dutch. Ohio State's got people leaving. I think Texas is about to have people leaving. And watch what happens after the national championship game with Washington. And nobody really wants any Washington players. But watch what happens with the Michigan players. You're probably going to see some guys that are going to get phased out. And it's okay. It's business. It's not personal.
Yeah, I've been on my soapbox about this. Like a large chunk of the fan base was under the impression like, okay, now we got a top 5 high school class. Now we can only get a couple people out of the portal. We don't need to go get all these portal people. We're not going to have a bunch of people to leave because the roster's to a certain level. But like we've talked about, you basically, and I said this way before, a third of your roster every year, it's going to go. It's just how it is. You're going to have so many that graduate, so many that go to the NFL, and so many out of the transfer portal. And what has Mike Norvell's absolute, ace in the hole been for the past 4 years? What has he done to get this program to where it is now? It's been the portal. Why in the hell would you not leverage that? Why would you only take a couple guys when you've just been absolutely nailing your evaluations at an extremely high level? So I'm all about it. I agree. I would, if we get 10 or 11, that would be great. But yeah, 7 or 8, I think, would be the bare minimum. And get those guys in here. It's same thing with those 5 guys that went to Colorado last year. Everybody wanted, Florida State's losing all their people. Well, how did that turn out? Like the guys that are actually in the plans or starters, you'll notice they have came out and threatened, but 99.9% of the time they get signed and they stay. If people leave, it's for a reason.
I just like hearing that name, Leon Washington. I'm picturing him in his Jets green and white taking those kickoffs back. Man, he was one of the best you've ever seen taking a kickoff back in the NFL.
He's one of my favorite people, man. Me and Leon get a chance to – we talk about once or twice a year. Talk more now because he's in the NFL, so I see him in Indianapolis. When I got a chance to take that young man to the Duke game the Friday night before, just happened to be going to grab some chow and get some honey fried chicken. And boom, who do I see in there? Leon Washington and his son, which was crazy because his son is going to college, and I just immediately felt old because Leon Washington Jr. is going to be in college now. I feel like it was just a few years ago.
I just had to think about that. Is he still playing in the league, or is he coaching now?
No, he coaches. He coaches for the
Okay,
Jets.
I was about to say, goodness gracious, I thought he retired a couple years ago. But
He's been coaching for like 3 years, 3-4 years. He's with Detroit first, and then came and did an internship with the Jags, and then went up to New York. So cool, such a good guy.
James, while you're talking, you might as well let people know what's going on at Den Media Group. Folks, I always drop the link, and I've done it 3 times for Chris with Spear Addicts and 3 times for Den Media Group. For some reason, I'm not getting a clickable link to drop. So it's easy to find. It's right here on YouTube. Spear Addicts, Den Media Group, Renegade Report. Those are your 3 destinations.
Yeah, we had crazy growth this year when I stepped back, and I'm just a competitive guy putting numbers out there. My goal was to have 5,000. We got 4,000 before the year ended. We're like, I think 2 away from 4,100. every time we get to an increment of 1,000, we give away 10% of the money, 10% of that. So once we get to 5,000 subs, we'll do $500 live on the show. And then we do a second giveaway of however many likes for that show was. So the last one we gave away $400 to, and these are real people. So Rosalind Baker, shout out to her. And then I don't want to say his real name. I forgot his actual his YouTube name, but it's different. But he got $84. And we give away tickets. We do all kinds of giveaways. But this year, the first quarter, we're going to have a ton of content. Some of it's going to be member-only releases. I was thinking about doing the Lorenzo Booker interview to be members only, but we'll do it to the public the first time. And then the next one, we'll do members only for the live. And then if you want to check it out later, obviously be released to everybody. We'll do a live broadcast for that, but you'll be able to see the live ask questions. We want more people to come and enjoy it. But when we got the combine, Florida State's got probably 10 to 12 guys that would be invited to the combine. If you're a Miami fan or other fan, like I'll interview everybody from the big three and who are some of the more interesting people. We will get all of those kind of things from some data, watching them be able to run their 40s. We'll break down again. It's going to be, so that's the end of February, beginning of March. We have the Super Bowl content, which is going to be in Vegas, which is going to be crazy. And if you are a member, if you're an all-in member, if you are all-in member for football season, or if you want to go and you want to pay money to backdate it, we can talk about that. But if you ever want to go experience what I experienced in the combine. So last year we had Rick Ross shoe party. We had the Nike gifting suite. We had the Adidas gifting suite. We had the Puma gifting suite. We had Topgolf gifting suite. We had all these different things we did in Phoenix. Well, a lot of that stuff is lined back up for Vegas. My all-in members. If I'm in Vegas and I get in, I'm gonna do my damnedest to get you in. Can't promise you everything, but you can come party like me. And then the combine, if you're an NFL fan, this is the only way that you're going to be able to experience all the top brass and your coaches in a day-to-day situation. You can ask them, just don't get weird. It is all networking at the combine. So like you come, you ain't got to work. I got to work, but you can come hang out with me and I promise it's going to be great times. So those are for my all-in members, and it's a little cost, but it's worth it.